This podcast is brought to you by our partners at 8 Star Energy.
8 Star Energy, a clean energy company leading the future of portable and renewable energy.
To find out more, follow them on Facebook at 8 Star Energy.
I want attacking, purposeful football all the time. Now we're going to have backs against the wall and we're going to fight, and we're going to fight hard. You've got to show me all the guts and all the determination you've got in your body. You've got to inspire me.
A marvellous kick. That's as good as you'll ever see. And puts Player back in front.
I don't know about you guys, but if I see one bloke walking out of here, give the pat on the back from people out there for a good effort, I'll spew up.
From inside the centre square. Boyds kick the goal. Boyds kick the goal. From inside the centre.
Hey Pack, coming to you live from Ilya Grigic Studios. It's Danny Boyd, the greatest podcast about the even better football club. I'm Danny McGinlay. With me is a guy who actually played for the Bulldogs. Fun fact, Tom Boyd.
Yeah, once upon a time. Seems like a long time ago now, though. Mate, it's good to be here. We're obviously going to wrap up the season today. We need a much needed break after doing what must be 20 free-to-air podcasts, another 20 Patreon. We've had a bit of a big year.
We have, yeah. We've been going since January, and we did have delusions of grandeur. We were talking, we're going to keep this going all the way through summer, and we've realised there's not much to talk about. I mean, we could go the Kane Corns angle and make up stories.
Or we could talk about the umpire betting scandal that they're going through at the moment, which is funny. Maybe that's why did that get released now because there is such a sort of dark days of summer.
I love this. Yes.
Do you know what I mean? They would have sat on it for ages.
Mate, FIFA World Cup starts Monday. That's I know Eddie Maguire was always, soccer is the natural enemy of Aussie rules in terms of column inches and stuff. So yeah, I reckon that could be it. And I love that. So what seems to have happened? Let's talk about that. I've just what it seems to be. He knew that he gave Paddy Cripps 3 votes, and he linked that to a betting scandal, which is a shame because what us footy fans want is just admissions of guilt that they have always paid free kicks against the Bulldogs. And there's been an absolute conspiracy to stop us from winning grand finals my whole life.
Yeah, I mean, I must admit, I haven't read past the headlines. I've seen a bunch of it come sort of across my Instagram and social media pages, but I just figure they'll release, like when they actually have information to talk through.
Exactly.
They'll talk about it then, and then I'll read it then, rather than, diving into speculation. But
yeah, we should apologise to our listeners because this is what makes us not a great footy podcast, because we do know when we're being lied to and we don't read beyond that.
Yeah, exactly. And also, I feel like, wasn't the whole thing with the umpires, they made a massive song and dance about having the armour guard thing and then the locked up votes and all that sort of stuff. That was the whole thing, wasn't it? It's like after, you pass on your envelope, no one gets to read it.
That's right.
But somehow they often end up being able to count out the most important votes last, which, maybe they're strategically doing it on the night, but it seems unlikely.
Well, you want to put on a show.
Of course.
They've all been close the last few years. Yeah,
it has. Yeah, I'm sure been a couple of. I mean, the Swanee ones. I think he had a couple of blowouts potentially when he was.
But that's over a decade ago.
I don't know how many times recently I've stayed up till the end of the Brownlow. To me, it is like one of the most boring viewing experiences.
Yes.
Whilst obviously being the most heralded award, and I'm massive fan of people who win them, but. Yeah, it's just not a very good viewing experience from home.
No, I remember loving it when I was a kid, and my son loves it now because there's stats and there's recaps and everything. But
predictions
and as a grown up, it's not really that interesting. However, look, if Channel 7 it is revealed that Channel 7 have been stacking the votes, so it is close towards the end. I say kudos.
Yeah.
Put on a show.
Yeah, well, exactly. And I think that's part of the whole fanfare of the event, is that you have all of this sort of glitz and glam to start, but at the end you want to see almost like a tight horse race to finish.
Yeah, definitely. It's like the grand final. No one wanted Geelong to win by that much.
No, and, there's something very, very important about big events like the grand final where when it is a blowout, it is distasteful. Almost like
Yeah.
like I would marvel at the achievements of Geelong if they won by 20 points, but I almost feel like their win is not as important as it could have been, which doesn't make any sense.
Well, no, I think if you win it, I think 20 points is a good. If you win a grand final by 20 points, you should actually get 2 premierships.
Yeah, I agree. And 22 points or whatever specifically,
You get 3.
Yeah, you get 3. Yeah.
Then you're just
to
awarded.
make up for the lost ones of the past. But yeah, it does feel like this was sort of dropped into the midst of the almost summer ocean of lack of news to try and get some relevancy back. But yeah,
I'm dwelling now on this. If you put it, I'm thinking more for the runners up. If you put up a good fight in the grand final, you should get something more. Maybe what could we say? Talk about Collingwood in 2018. One of the best losing grand final performances you'll ever see. We were entertained until the final seconds. West Coast obviously win the premiership. What do Collingwood get that Sydney don't get this year? Do they get an extra home game? Do they get...
Well, I'd like to say, looking into a crystal ball, that the massive grand final defeats automatically lead to failing seasons the next year.
That's a good point.
But I'm pretty sure Collingwood had quite a few challenges in the years to come post that grand final.
All right. No, okay, so that's what you get. You get to not be thumped, be psychologically damaged.
You get to make the finals next year. Yeah. You're excluded otherwise. I actually think that this whole saga or initial sort of foray into what will be a saga in terms of the betting scandal, it's an interesting conversation because as players, we obviously have things in place to not allow us to touch our phones, and there's obviously fines that have been handed out to players in the past.
What do you do with it? Do you all put them in a locked
basically
box?
A lockbox?
Yeah, all right,
safe. So there's one there's certain members of the staff that are allowed to have their phones, which is the footy ops people and the welfare staff and all
media
that sort
manager,
of stuff.
I'm guessing.
Because someone has to communicate with the media or family and friends, or if there's been injuries, or they just need to communicate, generally speaking, with the other staff at the ground. But so they're put away, and there's been quite heavy-handed fines handed out, not to people who have necessarily rigged anything, but have leaked information they shouldn't have, or they've been involved in some sort of, not quite proper passing of information or betting that perhaps they bet on a different game or whatever. That they're quite heavy-handed towards players. And the other thing is, if you think about football or Aussie rules as a sport, there's a lot of variables involved. It's hard for one player to just throw a game. Compared, and there's no spot betting per se, other than first goal.
Compared to cricket.
Yeah,
where
cricket or basketball or NFL or baseball. Name almost any other sport. The chaotic nature of AFL football is actually probably what protects it from the gambling sharks to a degree.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Whereas take horse racing as the ultimate sort of foray into less than ideal situations with gambling.
I'm just talking soccer. I think only the goalkeeper could really truly influence a game.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I'm sure there's been examples of that in the past. And I feel that's a good point, actually, because when you see goalkeepers make really bad mistakes, there's always the question about, did he do it on purpose or did they do it on purpose? Which is not a good thing to be asked of you. And the soccer fraternity is not particularly nice to people.
No, they're not. But also, FIFA doesn't need any help being any more corrupt. Do you know this year's World Cup, the VAR, video assistant referee, will not show footage of the game. Instead, they'll have animations.
Really?
Just so they can edit it and make it look however you want.
Wow.
And this was
Wasn't there something released recently that the ex-CEO of FIFA just got done?
Yeah, Sepp Blatter was the guy who gave the World Cup to Qatar.
Right.
And now he's just come out and said, yeah, that was probably a mistake.
Anyway, the reason why I think it's most interesting with the fact that it's an umpire involved is that there's only a couple of people in the league that can really influence a game, in my opinion.
Yes.
It would be a coach, think back to the...
Tank.
But think back to even take the tanking bit out of it, because that's just really hard to deal with. But say the Ross Lyon rest 10 players before the finals.
Oh, yeah.
Right? If Ross had said, hey, Danny, because he'd call you.
Ross, he does. Yep.
And he'd say, we may or may not be resting half of our team today. Good chance we'll lose.
Interesting.
That would be a way that they could do it. But, given the fact that it is such an anomaly, I would guarantee there'd be 1,000 eyes on that game to make sure there was nothing sort of beyond the realms of distinct accuracy.
I'm
with
mostly
regards to betting.
disappointed Ross is resting 10 players and still not asking me to play.
Yeah, exactly.
If you want to lose a game, Ross, I'm your man.
Exactly.
Let me live out my dream of playing footy.
But the other one, of course, is the umpires. Like, the umpires are probably most well positioned to, push games one way or the other. Now, I'm not at all questioning any of the umpires to say that they're doing this, but they're probably the two personalities that you could actually target. Which is an interesting, given that there's an umpire who's come out and told something about the Brownlow rather than the game. So, anyway, they're always under the pump, the umpires. One way or another.
But let's. Do you know what I want to do? Just as a quick interview, I want to find some villains in Western Bulldogs history, and one would be the goal umpire of the 97 prelim who gave Libba's goal as a point, and just get his side of the story and find out how much he was paid off to not allow that goal.
We might have to do it in a bulletproof bunker somewhere that's very safe and
Camp David.
undisclosed. Yeah, we're gonna have to go to Camp David with the full patriotic team of what are they called? What's the Secret Service?
The Secret Service would have to be... Well, but it needs to be neutral. It's like the Swiss Guard.
Yeah.
We'd do it at the Vatican.
We'll do it at Geneva. I think it would be interesting. I mean, I don't know how much defence these people... Like, what are they going to say? Like, it's on tape. And
yeah, right.
Well, as in the... no, not the betting scandals on tape. The Libba point goal is on tape. And, he could say anything he wants under the sun, and Bulldog supporters will be like, nah, still robbed.
Yeah, but it'd still be good content.
Yeah,
so I'm thinking of a podcast producer now.
Imagine you put it to the Bulldogs fans and you go, what would you like to ask them?
Oh, yeah.
There would be a lot of statements, if I had to guess.
Yeah, not many questions, except for where do you live?
Yeah, and if we filtered it by expletives, there would be about 3 that got through, and they'd be like the really nice people who use fudge.
All right, let's start reviewing the final bit of 2022 men's season, starting with one of my favourite games of the year, where we defeated the Hawthorn Football Club.
Yes, always a good experience beating them. So we're just going to watch the condensed highlights packages for the last few wins of the year, which you can just find on AFL.com, or we'll chuck in the show notes.
Absolutely, AFL.com.au, match highlights. You can follow along at home. And if you're not watching along at home, we'll try and at least keep you updated on what's happening.
Yep.
If we start talking about something else, it's because the game got boring.
Yeah, and also I just need to put one proviso in here, because I may or may not have made a statement that is relatively incorrect last week or the week before when we had our previous Free-to episode, where I did make mention that perhaps Aaron Norton didn't have the year that I was hoping him to have. Now, Danny made a good point when I brought this up before the show and said that that's only based on how good Aaron is.
Yeah.
And that 51 goal seasons being a disappointing result is just reflective of just how good a player he is and the potential that he has.
Yeah, and we love you, Aaron. There's no negativity here. We think you're a gun player, but we know you can go. You can be even better.
Yeah,
and we're excited.
Yeah, and the fact that Aaron is not the all Australian full forward, to me is just it's been poor circumstances. He's had a sore knee, or haven't been a side that's given him enough opportunities, or injury to teammates. So yeah, I mean, hopefully next year is the year that he really just tears the place apart, wins a Coleman and a Brownlow and a premiership and a Norm Smith, captain of the All Australian squad.
I never get excited about the All Australian squad. It's something. And now that they're wearing the blazers, it looks very like Eton.
It's a bit. It is a bit private school.
It's very private school. Unless, what they should do is get the All Australian team to play against someone, play one match as a team against highly intelligent robots.
Yes. Or we could just get the players to have a vote as well.
Oh, do you know? Yeah, of course.
Because it's all media personalities do the All-Australian. I think that they're always captors of the narratives that they have to push out every week. Like, if they're focusing on who's going to win the next Brownlow, or, who's the best player for this team, or perhaps someone who's having a really strong year like Aaron, and I'm going, oh, it hasn't been quite good. But then you look at the stats and you're like, actually, he's right up there, and he's influencing games and. I think realistically, if they want it to be as close to accurate as possible, you give some weighted vote to the playing fraternity. Not to say that the media don't have a vote as well, because I think they have a different perspective. You make the teams not vote for their own teammates.
Yeah, you do it like Eurovision.
Yeah, which we do. We do for the AFL MVP or AFLPA MVP. We vote on that. But It's just to get the point where, I think there are players who do miss out because perhaps they're not in a big enough market or they're not popular enough or whatever it is. And that's a mistake because, it's life-changing for a lot of these people. You get an All-Australian banner next to your name and you are forever holding more credibility, whether you're in the sport or not.
Yeah, you'll get more media chances and things like that. Yeah. Well, and you probably shouldn't let fans vote because it would have been quite awkward for Toby McLean to be named at centre half forward, considering he only played one game.
One game. That's it.
But I still stand by it. I think he was the best centre half forward. Not even his position.
No, exactly right. And that's the other thing. I mean, the media are definitely, they do favour fanfare, but fans favour fanfare by definition.
We do.
All right, we're going to get into this and we're going to try and watch the last few games and then wrap up the year after what has been a wonderful year with all of the Danny Boyd supporters.
Yeah, great year for us. The club itself, ups and downs, not as good as 2021, let's be brutally honest.
Yeah.
The women kept us proud, but most focus on you. You're great, you listeners.
Yeah.
We have over 1,000 followers on Facebook.
Yeah.
We're champions.
Yeah, and this season looks slightly better than Whitten Oval does right now.
Yeah, it's very depressing for the old school fans.
I drove past it yesterday and it had just been raining all morning, all night. And I tell you what, it doesn't look like they could play any sport on that the next 15 years.
No, it's a real metaphor for our off-season.
Yeah, and it's almost like because they've still got the administration area, it looks so sad standing by itself.
Yeah, it could be Ukraine.
Yeah, and I was talking to the team yesterday, and they were like, "So all of the staff have got nowhere to eat anymore. Like they have to go out because the cafe's
closed.
The cafe's got the gym in it.
Oh, really?
The gym's in the cafe for the next 18 months.
God, that's so cruel. So Bont's there, running a marathon on a treadmill, but he can still have the faint smell of chips.
Yeah, no. So Bont's going to be in there lifting 180 kilos on the squat machine, and then he's going to go to Braybrook to run a marathon.
Oh, man.
Because that's where they're training over the off-season.
Right, okay. So it's just the weights gym.
Yep, just the weights gym. There's nothing else there. Like, you couldn't... Like, if Bont ran a kilometre on that ground, he'd probably have, torn hip flexors and calves. It's just pure clay. Like, there's nothing left.
Oh, man. All right, anyway, we're playing Hawthorn. Here we go. We're starting it all off now. As I recall, we start this game very badly. I think Hawthorn get the first 4 goals, which just makes the win even sweeter.
Unfortunately, Hawthorn, as much as they struggled in the last, 2 years, they still have this, faint aroma of the history they have as a club.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we've got PTSD of them just dominating for so many years because their fans are so smug.
That is a great mark by them.
Sam Mitchell was the smuggest of all of their those players at that time. Man, 2016 was... because... we beat the Giants the week after, and that was the best game of the decade. And then we finally break the premiership drought. We don't talk about the semi-final enough.
No,
because it was so it just gets swept under the rug. We stopped Hawthorn. Yep. The whole team, the whole world was on our side. Anyway, Hawks are up 20 points to 2 at this point. We're halfway through the first quarter.
We've had people take screamers on us. Their full forward has kicked 2, I think.
Yeah, great pack mark. Anyway, McRae's picked it up. He's kicked it in forward. This will be our first goal. A dropped mark. Oh, Bailey Williams JJ just picks it up. Bit of speed, snapshot. Fantastic.
He's still fast, isn't he?
Yeah. He can run. No one between he and the ball.
He's not JJ of 16, but he's still fast.
Yeah. I watched this game with our mate Rob Mills.
Right.
Big Hawks fan.
That's right.
And he was...
What game did we watch together?
This is going back to the birth of the podcast. You, me, Millsy, and my mate Shane were at the Cricketers' Arms in Richmond on Punt Road, and we watched the Bulldogs beat the Swans in 2020.
Yep. And he just came for the couple of pints of beer that we had.
Yeah, just a couple. But do you remember there was no one else in the pub?
Yeah.
And we ordered food and because they clearly thought there were going to be more people. Do you remember we got Palmer's and the mountain of chips that each of us got? We got a small potato farm.
They were extraordinarily generous for us.
They were good people. And do you remember the other part of that night? Now, people often get the Cricketers' Arms mixed up with the Royal up the road, which is an adult establishment. No, we were at the Cricketers, but then someone walked in asking why the lady behind the bar was wearing clothes.
Oh, I don't actually remember that.
Oh, man. And we were just having a chat afterwards going, do you imagine the confidence to just walk into a room and ask why someone's wearing clothes?
Yeah, it's a very strange question to ask. Presumably they were a bit inebriated. But
You'd hope so. There's Aaron Norton taking a brilliant mark in the front row.
We also just missed Riley West's unbelievable little specky that he did before. And then we were talking about this last week. His tenacity genuinely has to be infectious for his teammates.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, do you know?
goes.
What
Look
a
at
goal by Riley West!
Out of thin air.
Have you known him well? Is he an affable guy, or is he determined and angry?
I know him. I knew him for probably 12 months, and no, he's a cheeky kid who has a good time and is a bit rough around the edges, but. Yeah, great kid.
See,
and honestly, as I've said previously, very surprised at how well he's gone. And that's credit to him because it's very easy to look at Riley and be like, how are you going to be a player when you're playing against the likes of Bont, who is, almost a foot taller than him and, has got the long left foot and Riley's kicking, as I've said previously, was a bit of a struggle early days. And he's just turned it out by sheer will, by the seams of it.
And this is depressing. Dunkley's just kicked an amazing goal.
Brisbane player.
He's
imagine. Look, obviously we're sad Dunks is gone. Can you imagine how good he's going to look after some Brisbane sun?
yeah. He's
it'll be real depressing.
The melanin is going to make him look even more handsome. Anyway, JJ's good to got another goal. This is great. JJ's having a real great game. Riley West. I love when the players that are unheralded these days just really step up.
How many games did JJ play this year? Because I struggle remembering exactly with him because he definitely had some ins and outs, and I can't remember if that was last year or this year. He obviously has been moved around a little bit and now obviously finds himself more consistently on the wing and at half forward.
He comes in usually the second half of the year. He spends the first half in the VFL.
Yeah, popping in and out. I think he had some injuries. He's had a few soft issues over the years.
Riley West straight to Josh Shackey. Another sad one. God, we should put trigger warnings at the start of this episode. Anyway, it's 4 minutes to go in the third quarter.
Aaron with the follow-up.
Great tackle. Riley West kicks in from 50, straight down over the top of Shackey.
That was a bit of a Riley kick.
But there's McComb.
And there's actually public pest number one getting wrestled. Not I don't know if Sam Mitchell was ever quite as lippy.
I'm taking the headband off. Look at this. No, Sam Mitchell definitely was this lippy.
He is an Adonis.
How good. Did you play in that game at the MCG against the Hawks where we come back from 6 goals down at the start of the fourth quarter? It's like round 2, 2019.
We end up losing?
No, we win. We get a couple, and Sicily gets 250 metres against him.
What year was it?
2019, I think.
No, I didn't play any games in 19.
Ah, well then. I don't like
we did have a big comeback game against them in 2015, maybe 16. It's right at the start of the year.
Oh yeah, where Bob does his knee.
Yeah,
16.
And we hit the front.
Yep.
I kicked my first goal of the game, snapping it from the boundary line. How good! Out of the ruck, and then I think Burgoyne comes up and just takes the game away from us whilst I was on the bench.
And Bob does his knee. It was
that was right at the start too, wasn't it?
Round 3.
That's in of the game.
Oh no, Bob does his knee in the dying seconds.
It's right at the end. Yeah. That's right.
As I think Sicily kicks
literally, we get the game pinched from us.
Yeah, and our captain.
That's right. Yeah.
It was the worst.
Because I've seen the highlight so much, but it's never in the context of the game. It's always just like Bob's. It's so horrible that he did his knee.
I had some international comedians with me at that because Melbourne Comedy Festival was on, and they had to leave early to go do their shows. And Bulldogs were ahead.
Yep.
And then they saw me afterwards and go, hey, did we win, pal? Did we win? And I go, no, it was so much worse than you could possibly imagine.
Yeah, this is like the worst possible situation that has ever occurred.
Little did we know. Anyway, so what was it, 8 minutes to go in this final quarter. Who was that?
That was Hayden Crozier. And I don't think Hayden played many games after that. He had it was a bit sad seeing H sort of fall out of the side. He had such a good couple of years for us.
And he was, don't forget, the first player to kick a goal at the Shane Warne stand-in at the MCG.
True.
There's Libba with a goal from outside 50.
What a year he had.
Oh,
and again, he's
good.
one of the, he's probably case in point in terms of the All-Australian side of things. other teams would give him a good run at perhaps
that's right.
being very close at least.
Oh, I thought that was going in. Anyway, great Mark Norton. Brilliant.
Don't you love when players like appeal for touched? Like everyone knows touched in a marking contest means nothing unless you basically like change the direction of the ball.
Actually, given my theatre background here, Boydy, I wanted to know when a coach is going to start, when you start smothering a ball in the forward 50, in your defensive 50, do a bit of spirit fingers, just so it looks like they've been touched, because they look at the fingers moving.
It's all well and good until you break them, and then
you can do jazz hands.
You need them hard so that when the ball hits it, it's you only semi-dislocate them.
Anyway, great win to the Dogs over the Hawks. Always an absolute thrill to beat those eastern suburbs.
Well,
rivals. Let's keep it nice.
They're going to be extreme eastern suburbs rivals.
So. Oh, yeah, because they're going out to
Dingley.
Anyway, then we played Sydney, and we won't talk about that game.
I was listening to a Hawks supporter or someone from the Hawks recently trying to explain to me how good it's going to be when they're out there. And I was like, but, all of your like players that you've, had over the years live in South Yarra.
Yeah.
And that's an hour away.
Yeah.
And they're like, but the facilities are world class. I was like, not the cafes or like for the guys who, it's going to be interesting for them to try and get big names to the club, because it is a consideration for players about where they actually get to live, right? Like if you're in Victoria, it's like, yeah, you could be at any team in Victoria, but if you're living at, if you're going to Windy Hill or you're going to Arden Street, well, you're travelling out to the older part of town in Essendon. Their facilities are great, but it's a bit of a hike for a lot of people, particularly if you live on the east side of Melbourne.
Yeah.
Go to Arden Street and there's a few reasons why you don't want to go there. So it's just like,
you need the Comics Lounge. That's nice.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think it's an interesting thing that they've done, because the Monash is such a horrible road to drive on.
Yeah. Well, and don't forget, driving to Whitten Oval's, what Jordan Roughhead said was the reason he left. Because he was getting depressed on the Balti. On the Westgate. That's right. I wanted to tell him to take the Balti.
Yeah, that's why. And yes, are we saying that AFL players are precious? Yes, we are.
Oh, totally.
We are saying they're precious in some ways, and if they're precious, that the drive to Dingley or wherever their new facilities are is enough to really irk them.
Weren't the band Jet from Dingley?
I don't know. Great band, though.
Great band, but you'd have to be a big Jet fan for that to get you over the line.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, perfect example, Seaford, right? Like their Seaford facility for St Kilda was state of the art, brand new, but no one wanted to drive it that far out there, and it's ages away.
And I guess the Demons, do they play it? Do they do it? What do they do at Casey? I know the women play.
Oh
there.
yeah, God, I wouldn't like. Yeah, that's a reason I wouldn't go to the drive to Casey. Playing VFL for the Dogs is probably my biggest nightmare.
Oh, it's the worst.
It is so far, and for probably 3 of the years I was at the Bulldogs, there was roadworks for the last 15 kilometres and it was 40 k's an hour. So it was like an hour and 30-minute trip. Every week they'd be going out there. So, yeah, it's all part of the consideration. That's why, the Collingwoods and the Richmonds of the world have it so good. And, I think the Bulldogs have it so good because we're only 10 minutes from the city.
Yeah, and it's becoming a bit trendier and cooler around there.
Yeah, but there's so many good cafes and food. And, the Vietnamese food on Barclay Street is second to none, anywhere it seems like. So
Ethiopian stuff's getting
and I said to I was catching up with the guys on the Community Foundation yesterday. One of the amazing things we have as Bulldog supporters and members and people who work for the club or the foundation is that there's no club in the land that is as closely tied geographically to a part of Melbourne.
Yeah.
There's no one. We could go to Footscraper North Primary School and there'd be 30 Bulldog supporters, and we go to Coburg and there'll be 2.
Yeah, that's right.
That's the difference.
Just the area there. And yet we changed our name.
Yeah, true. Great
Disgraceful. Anyway,
we're about to get into us beating the Saints, which is always good because they've had some wins against us that have been particularly distasteful.
Completely agree.
The Mitch Wallace, Jack Redpath game.
Yes.
The Clay Smith game.
I mean, the 09 prelim, the 010 prelim.
Yep, you name it.
Yeah. Let's get into it. But I watched this with, do you know Francis Leach, the broadcaster?
I'm sure I've heard of him.
SEN star. He's a massive Saints fan. I used to do a podcast with him, and I said, mate, I've got a spare ticket. Do you want to come along? And he's like, not really.
Yeah.
But then he came along anyway because he's a good bloke, and
Brucey's
Josh Bruce? What are you talking about?
Brucey's playing first game back.
I'm not sure. I'm just going to tell you that I've never... Francis Leach is one of the most upbeat blokes you'll ever meet, but he was so depressed
flat.
in this game. I've never seen someone... Like, he wasn't turning on his team yelling at him, just turning on him, just going... Like, just pointing out all the players not running, not trying, kicking it over their heads just like that. Bond's taking it.
I remember this.
Over the top. No, he leaves it. Leaves it because the defenders aren't running towards it. Bailey Dale. What a great bloke.
What a transformation he's had. I'm sure I've said that before.
You talk about All-Australian giving you another boost. I mean, he was a surprise at All-Australian last year, not to us.
Yeah.
But now people are starting to respect him outside of it.
Yeah, and that's because he's so unassuming and, to be honest, hadn't, set the world on fire previously.
Is our new Fletcher Roberts?
No.
But he's unassuming and light, affable.
I would say he's more like... I don't know who he's like almost like Matty Boyd
great mark by Ed Richards.
Matty Boyd in 16 when Matty went back and then dominated All Australian. Everyone was like, "Oh, Matty's good."
Matty's good. I'm talking personality wise.
Oh, personality wise, perhaps.
He's not angry enough to be Matty Boyd.
No, definitely.
Buku Karmas, what a great mark. So we're about it's just about a quarter into the second quarter, 16-minute mark of the second quarter.
This is quite a short one, this one. It's only 6 minutes, so obviously it was a really riveting game.
Yep. Saints are still goalless. Buku Karmas just takes another intercept mark.
Yeah, he's come along so far too. Like, I got to be honest, when Buku first got to the club, it looked like it was going to be a long journey for him to become a sort of, and it was basically just he'd never I don't think he'd ever trained at the level that he needed to. Like he didn't understand. And this happens all the time with players who come into the league, who is that they just don't understand how hard it is to train. And for most part, what that means is that they need to get fit enough first. Like they just have to run laps just to get fit enough so that they can deal with the stresses of the game.
I mean, speaking of that, we just saw Jamara take a good mark.
Similar to Jamara,
he's really lifted. Mitch Hannon.
And look, to be honest, it wasn't dissimilar to me. Like in terms of just needing aerobic capacity.
I've read your book, mate. You trained enough.
Yeah, sometimes. I'm pretty sure this must have been Brucey's first game back. I have a feeling it was.
Sounds about right against his old club.
They do seem they just seem a bit defeated, the Saints in this game, don't they?
Well, okay, so I wonder, was this was just after Brett Ratton had signed his extension?
Yeah, it would have been.
And then for them to put in these efforts, I guess everyone was getting a bit comfortable.
Yep. Yeah, good chance. Paddy Ryder, what a wonderful career he had. Broke my finger, but, that's all right. Still a pretty good bloke.
Do you reckon Ross Lyon will be a good move for the Saints?
Oh, I have, I know a lot of people who were there with him.
Yeah.
And I'm interested to see the impacts he has with the younger players mainly because they need to get more out of basically
Bont
a
to
third of their
Jamara.
list, right?
Bont to Jamara. Jamara just slops
Doesn't
it.
he just kick the ball so high, Jamara?
Yes, and so straight.
Yeah.
He
doesn't swing much.
Oh, I can't wait till we do the D's game. That's coming up.
He must have very, very good connection with the ball. I don't know how that wasn't holding the ball, by the way, on Bont. That may have been the biggest.
He did take him on.
Took him on, got stripped, got tackled. Then he suddenly handballs to someone. And that's Garcia, is it?
Riley Garcia.
First goal? No.
No, I don't think so. No, he played last year as well.
Jason.
JJ gives it over the top. No, it doesn't. Oh, no, it does. Yep, bit slow. And there's Trelaw.
That is play on just about to. That's a good finish from there. That's Stringer's pocket. Remember we used to kick him from 50 out there?
Yeah, 50, in
Mate,
2015.
He used to absolutely bomb some balls from that side of the ground.
It was so exciting to watch.
And then he the next year, it was almost like he just kept trying from the same spots and they'd go out in the full.
Even in the grand final, had a few out on the full.
He did, yeah.
Outs on the full? I guess that would be grammatically correct.
Yeah.
Anyway, Bailey Williams.
Yeah. I don't know. We can fix our phonetics and grammar later.
Anyone who's any pedants who listen to this, let us know.
I feel like this time of the year and the season, whilst winning was good, it did feel a little like it was battle of the not quite theirs, like games like this.
Yeah. Sure. Maybe you're thinking that. Well, I'm still optimistic we're going to have another fairy tale tint to the
optimistic,
flag.
but it didn't feel like we were about to go on a run.
See, I always think we are. Anyway, mostly you just...
That's why you're the fan.
Yeah. I'm just watching this praying no one gets injured.
Yeah. It does feel definitely at the end of games. That's sort of somewhat of the sentiment, but
And
then
against St Kilda.
that's when you do get injured when you're not 100%.
When you're trying not to get injured.
Exactly.
So here St Kilda are trying a little bit, but I tell you, Francis is gone at this point. I'm sitting alone in the stands.
That is Membry's kick was phenomenal. Is this the Max King point game, or was that a different game?
I don't know. Hang on, Max King, scored a point?
No, he kicked like 5 points in the last quarter.
I
think that might have been this game. Maybe. He had I felt so bad for him because I was like, I've been there.
Yeah.
I've been on that. I've been in that space where things are just not going right for you, and you're still catching it, but you almost feel like you don't want to catch it because
Actually, look, they got more scoring shots than us at this point. It's 3 minutes to go. 3 minutes 50, and Bont's just taken a great mark. Clearly didn't convert it. Oh no, he did.
No, it wasn't the King game.
There we go. Game over. Look, no one's celebrating.
Yeah, and see what I mean? Like this is a bit of the we just got there.
Yeah, you wouldn't know who won if you didn't have the scoreboard there. You just walked in. Everyone's got their heads down.
So I don't think so. Brucey didn't play the week before, so I'm thinking that was his first game back against his old club.
Didn't seem too much in the highlights, but that's okay.
No. And look, it'll take him. It was probably good. To be honest, it was just good that he got a run.
Yeah, absolutely.
And to get back out there after a knee is very important. And if you listen to anyone, doesn't matter what sport, it takes 18 months to get everything back up and going. Yes, you can play, but you're not going to play at your full capacity. Now, this is probably
Game of the year.
the best game that we had definitely in the back half of the
This
year.
is us versus the Demons. All right, let's not get distracted on this one. Let's actually talk it through because this is brilliant
8
fun.
minutes of brilliance.
There was a real feeling of I wasn't too confident coming in here just because they
There's
seem to have
absolutely nothing wrong with watching Bont mark the ball in front of Clayton Oliver, is there?
No.
Absolutely nothing. And absolutely flushed through a goal.
Yeah. He's really funny looking, Clayton Oliver, isn't he? It's like Steve Buscemi would play him in a movie.
He's so good.
Yeah, no doubt.
But I agree, yeah. He doesn't look much like a footballer,
No.
but he is.
Bailey Smith's just done a snapper. Where's it going to go to? Oh,
Brucey? No.
Jamara. That's right. Jamara kicks. Is it 5? That's his first right there. See, look, we start in strong and you get this feeling of you just can't relax against the Ds. Like we'll probably be a decade of PTSD of like, doesn't matter how far ahead of the Demons we are. We know they can actually, yes, no, that's what did happen in this game. They've just got their first goal. And I bet you now they get another goal within 3 seconds. So, yeah.
Judging by the experience I've had with Bulldog supporters, including you, a decade of PTSD is probably unders. It's probably going to be more like 40 years.
Yeah, that's true.
We're currently, 25 years post-97.
I'm still bringing it up. All right.
Yeah. Wow. Is that Garcia?
Yes, it was.
What a goal. On his left?
It felt like in this game, yeah, there we go. And then they just get another one straight away. Like we would have to claw and scrape and just fight for every millimeter, and then they would go bang, bang, bang. Yeah. And it was just, it was troubling.
Is this the Cody Waitman Mark on Gawn head game?
No, that was last year.
Damn it! I want to see that again.
Oh yeah.
It all gets sort of mulled together, doesn't it?
Well, we do have a decent rivalry.
Well, we had a game almost. It was really quite similar to this, where we beat them in a really good game at the end of last year too.
Yeah,
right?
And that was at the MCG, I believe.
Yeah, I think so.
We had a weird thing last year where we always the away team always won. And then we played in Perth, and we were both away teams.
Well, we were the home team by the sounds of things.
Yeah. Sam Wiedemann. Yeah, that's right. Just going into the quarter time. They get another one to put them 2 goals up.
Where did Sam go again? He moved.
Sam Wiedemann, Carlton,
I think. No, that's his. I don't know. They've got the same last name.
Adelaide Crows. That's
can't
Murray
remember.
Wiedemann.
He's an Eastern boy, Wiedemann.
Is he? Look, and now in our second quarter, I remember this gets quite depressing. They've just got the first goal. Bailey Smith kicks it in. There's spray, then Riley West, great goal. Out of nowhere.
Essendon. He's gone to.
It's gone to Essendon, all right.
Like, Riley streaming down the wing, kicking on his left straight to Timmy. Like, you couldn't have told me that was going to happen 2 years ago.
No, but then that. Look, and here's the scary bit: that their highlights start at the centre bounce, and they just do what they did.
They absolutely have destroyed us from centre bounces in our losses to them.
Yep.
And so's he, by the way. Fritsch absolutely torched us in that game.
Who would you put on Fritsch? And I'm just trying to really just crowbar in a gag so we can sing the song. Put him on the Fritsch. Boom, boom, boom. If we did chance,
I remember when we were discussing the grand final and why he got so much opportunity. It honestly, the issue with him is that he gets a lot of his scores seemingly from centre bounces because he's so fast and tall and quick off the mark, and he doesn't miss, so that always helps. But if we get beaten by like we have been in a few of the highlights tonight by the D's at the centre bounce, like, it's very hard to stop players like him.
Yeah.
And also, it doesn't lend itself to the way we like to defend with, Buku coming off or Ed coming off or Hayden when he's up and going. Like, any of these guys who like intercepting, if they come out of the front of the stoppage, they're all caught unaware.
So now it's coming into 6 minutes left in the second quarter, and they're almost 5 goals up here. We've kicked straight, which is good, but not ideal. Cody Waitman. I love him in long sleeves.
He only needs about a third of a second with the ball, doesn't he?
Well, yeah, he'd fit in well.
That is the quintessential small forward trait that he has.
Yeah.
Better than most.
We're getting it. Oh, no. They're now in the third quarter.
Old Keithy just trying to take someone's head up. Keithy
put him on the fridge.
Keithy waving. He goes, come on, mate, get up.
Get up. Here we go. Trelaw's just scrapped through a great snapshot to put us within 14. Halfway through the third quarter.
64-77.
I wasn't optimistic.
We're on the edge of our seat here going, this could be a 40-point loss or a really good win.
Yes. You're becoming a fan here.
That's Trelaw again?
Trelaw. No, that's
Timmy from outside 50.
God. And now it's only 7 points the difference.
Does Tim
8
just
minutes to
tear
go.
the joint apart next year? That's what I'm excited for.
There's going to be one season where he does that, and then inevitably he'll do his knee.
Naughty, out of the ruck, see you later, Gorn. I know you're 50 centimetres taller than me, but I'm just going to kick a snap in your face.
And it's a 1 point game, 6 minutes to go. And now look what happens here. Melbourne will get a goal within 3 seconds. So Bounce should have been holding the man against Tim English. Petrarca. There we go. And then just handball,
Harms, goal. That is just the quintessential clip of what we used to be so much better at than we have been last 2 seasons. Getting beaten out the centre bounce. Yeah. We just never used to lose.
Yep. So we start the last quarter.
Cozzy Pickett
with an amazing goal, which puts them
2 goals up.
2 goals up. 13 points.
13 points is real danger time. The next goal, basically, you're
pivotal. And then Jamara Ugle-Hagan takes a great pack mark.
I couldn't have seen him doing that previously either. He's looking so much stronger in the air.
Oh, this game he found another gear. Yeah. It was so good.
5 straight. And May just used to dominate us, but, that's why we got
and then he just kicks it to Bont. But they call play on, gives it to McRae, slots it. That was huge. God, this is so good. We could watch this game at a live show. In fact, maybe we
Unfortunately, I think just by ways of the fact that the season didn't pan out exactly as we want, it might not feel as important.
Well, maybe we'll just watch this quarter.
Yeah.
That could work. We are going to be doing... I'm aiming
Garcia again.
I'm aiming March next year, a couple of weeks before the men's season starts.
Probably in that week between the end of the preseason games and the start of the season.
That's a good idea.
So just to give
once they give the fixture in. Anyway, we're planning things, and we talked over Jamara's amazing winning goal.
This is the highlight of his year. This goal, right? Like, this is his best highlight from 50 out on his left.
And I've got to criticise Channel 7 here because they've focused on a Demons player looking devastated, and it was Gawn. I actually like Gawn. Why couldn't it have been Clayton Oliver or Petrarca or Fritsch? Of all the people. And there we go. What a man. I was never louder than this moment.
It is great to see the young boys in particular get a win that's probably as big as they've had, the ones
Yeah.
who haven't played in finals.
We're
We're going to get striked by the podcast
go.
community.
Anyway, and then we lose to Geelong the next week. Let's not talk about that. We lose to the Dockers in a very, very frustrating match.
And this is the last game of the year that actually matters, which is the Bulldogs-Giants game, which,
It was very frustrating.
in the scheme of things, not important. In the scheme of our club's history, always important to beat the Giants.
Oh, no. We needed to win to make finals.
Yeah,
Otherwise
I know.
it would have
but
been out.
I'm looking at this with a retrospective lens, but it's always important to beat the Giants.
How long do these highlights go for? I bet not long because there's not many.
6.5, and that's a
6.5.
stretch. I think that's maybe the minimum they're allowed.
Yeah. I brought another international comedian to this, Ivan Aristeguieta, his first Bulldogs men's game, and he was almost asking me like halfway through. I mean, there's 10 minutes gone in the first quarter here, and there's only been one
There's
scoring
been two
shot
scoring
each.
shots, yeah.
And he is asking me, just going, so why is there not things happening?
Yeah.
I had to explain that.
I'm sure he goes, you guys complain about soccer being slow. What are you guys talking about?
Cody Waitman with a great goal. But yeah, we're talking 12-6 and there's 4 minutes to go in this quarter. Who just got that goal? That was
Bailey Dale.
Nice.
Great goal.
So at least we got a bit of breathing room here. But it was...
What did the Giants end up this year? Third bottom, fourth bottom?
Oh, not that bad. I don't know. You played for them. You should be across it.
I played for them for about 14 minutes. Third bottom.
Third bottom. Okay, so they'll get a...
West Coast and North only won 2 games for the year.
Weren't they against each other?
I don't know, but
No, North beat Collingwood. That was great.
like 50. So they've got a. I know we're a bit distracted from this game, but it's not.
It's not a great
It's not a game to really write home about.
Yeah, Giants are up by a point halfway through the second quarter.
When you have a percentage of 55, which is what North do, essentially, and obviously this is not exactly correct mathematically, but essentially for every point you score, someone scores 2. So that means, if I think about it, it's like the average scores, gets close to 100 points. So it's 90 to 45, 100 to 50. Like that's your 8 goal losses every week.
Great goal, Libber, right there. Look at that. You're using your accountancy skills.
When have we been that bad?
2003 was our worst year of bottom of just rebuilding. 04.
Is that Wallace?
No, Wallace had just left. So
Okay.
Wallace sort of abandoned the sinking ship. Peter Road.
Peter Road. And he just 1 year with Peter?
2 years. And then 05, Rocket comes in.
Because when did we have Wheels before?
So 1990, Terry Wheeler comes in to replace Mick Moldhouse. Then Alan Joyce for a little bit in 94. And then, Terry Wallace, Peter Road, Rocket Eade, Brendan McCartney, Luke Beveridge.
Tim English.
Next coach. The ball
Next
there.
coach of the Bulldogs.
Next coach of the Bulldogs, Tim English. That's a good idea. I'm fine with that. Then you could get a game for him finally.
No,
Get a tall guy in.
mate, I don't think so.
But so we're in we're halfway through the third quarter and it's 32 to 35. This really was.
This is round 21 or whatever it is. Rubbish football.
This is an early kickoff Saturday afternoon. I don't even know why
get this game over with.
Why is the roof closed? Let's give them give the crowd some vitamin D just to cheer them up.
Yeah, or just a bit of shadow to complain about instead of the actual football.
Bailey Williams just put us in front. We've had a good clearance out of the
Smith from outside 50, absolute money.
Bang.
He's got the celebrations down pat, old Bailey.
He does. Well, we've talked about his, how much pressure he puts on himself. That's probably the only time he allows himself happiness.
Yeah,
is after a goal. So he's got to milk it for all
Do you
it's
reckon
worth.
he practices?
I hope so. No, well, yeah.
I've always been envious of players who could do fancy celebrations because that just means they were confident enough that there was something good was going to happen. I never got to that stage. I was just always thankful that anything good happened.
So there's something organic about your, just 2 big arms up, being the engorged man brute that you are.
Yeah.
With Toby McLean on your back.
That was the spirit of Footscray just taking over my soul after decades and decades of disappointment. That's what that was. I was having an out-of-body experience.
Yeah, we got to look at your
above
goal.
going, Toby, get off my back.
We got to look at your goals in because I don't think you celebrated the other ones too much.
I celebrated the snap.
The snap from the corner.
Yeah.
Yeah. But not a huge amount. Anyway, GWS are catching up. 2 minutes 50 to go in the third quarter, and they are down by 8 points. They're going to get another goal here, and just the frustration of the Bulldogs fans too. I mean, is that Jesse Hogan just outmarked 3 of our players 15 metres out? It really... Yeah, we should have just left it on the Melbourne game.
Yeah, it's we're going to have to rev ourselves up just to finish, I think.
Yeah, what we'll do, start cooking something up, Boydie. A bit of a pep talk for the fans about how good 2023 is going to be.
I think we have just the short monologue of this year and what we can hope for next year.
Yep, that's great. Let's go with that. All right. Giants just hit the front with a minute 13.
Who kicks the last goal? Can you remember?
I remember there's a lot of last points. There's a lot of points in the last quarter. And I remember even my son, who is, I'm pretty sure I've talked about this,
Jamara.
More mature than me at the footy. Even he was getting frustrated. So anyway, Jamara's having a shot to put us back in front. At the 10-minute mark, there has been no goals for the first 10 minutes of this last quarter. Oh, dear. Anyway, Jamara's just put us in front.
I think it's a great sign for our future that Jamara does pop up in big moments.
Yes.
Like, that is something you can't teach.
And he's getting another goal here. Or maybe it's a point. It's another. Wow. So they're showing points as highlights here now. There's no more goals. Oh, my heavens. Days.
Who cut this clip? You're missing
I don't know, but pay them double to sit through
suffering.
that match.
All right. It is time to end the podcast for the last time this year.
We're not going to bother with the last Hawthorn game that we win.
No, this season has been challenging to say the least.
Yes.
We've dealt with from the beginning inconsistent performances, moments where we thought we were a top 4 side and we're probably expected to be a top 4 side going into the year. Moments where we thought we were going to be a bottom 6 side, bottom 8 side at different stages where we just didn't look like we were going to click, and there were some teams who were sort of in the middle of the ladder pushing quite strongly to make us really uncomfortable. We've had off-field issues, we've had on-field issues, we've had coaching tantrums, we've had injuries to significant players, we've had comebacks to significant players, and we've also been gifted probably the closest possible finals berth ever.
Yes.
By a Carlton victory by 1 point.
And then a finals campaign to be matching the heartbreak of any in recent years. Probably only tempered by the fact that, we were lucky to be there.
Yep.
So it wasn't as devastating. But really, that's to have another capitulation in Perth was pretty...
Yeah. I think a finals game that epitomised as closely as possible the highs and lows of the season in terms of coming out of the blocks, getting 10 goals up or 8 goals up, and then getting absolutely comprehensively beaten for the rest of the game and coming home with the tail between our legs. Having said all of that, we have a huge cohort of players who are 21 to 25 or 6 who have proven themselves to be top-tier players in the competition. And whilst we've lost a couple, so we've lost a couple of leaders, definitely.
Yep.
And we've lost some favourite sons and father sons.
Yes.
We've also brought in some new blood, which is exciting. And hopefully will give us the zip and the zag to actually push a bit further next year. Well, let's start with the season, actually playing a more comprehensively consistent season, I would say, for the fans, heart rate variability for starters. And we've also got one of the most exciting off-the-field projects in the Dogs' history where we're actually going to have a facility that is conducive to being AFL level, which has never really happened in the history of the club. And hopefully, judging from what I saw yesterday, it means that the Bulldogs will be more heavily entrenched in the suburb than they ever have been. There'll be more community stuff going on. There'll be more engagement. There'll be more access. The AFLW will be playing wonderful footy there. Hopefully the men can play some home games there. That'd be awesome to launch the game.
That would be awesome.
And they also bring back all of the important, famous stalwart signs that were there that the fans were so upset about.
Yeah, the John Schultz stand and
the
Gary
Sutton
Dempsey.
fans,
And
But hopefully they make them a bit better than they were.
And maybe we could add a few more.
That'd be great. That'd be great.
We should just have the Liberatore stand. And people go, which one is it? And we go, it's all of them.
It's a family thing.
It's a family, yeah.
We're a family club. But I do have great frustrations and highlights from this year, Danny. I think we've had a good run. We've had some good fun. We've had some crappy podcasts. We've had some good ones.
What was crappy?
I'm sure we mailed it in at some stage, especially a couple
about.
of the online ones we had to do at different stages.
Oh, yeah, okay, fair enough.
But I'm genuinely optimistic about our chances next year. I certainly think that we should be playing in the top half of the draw. We should be in the finals, and we should realistically be pushing to try and find a top 4 berth is what I'd be hoping for.
Yeah, yep, I agree with all that. I think losing some of the leaders will give the opportunity for some young bucks to step up, and I reckon the type of people that our club is trying to draft are the sort of people who will stand up. There's a lot of talk about character and culture and all that. So I think this is a real, while sad to lose players, there's nothing we can do about that. So let's look at the opportunity it is for some young guys to step up. I think one thing that we have, Boydy, is we have a great. I've got a podcast that I would listen to, and I have fun doing it. And I think I love that the listeners who get involved, and we've got a good opportunity to give a voice to the insider-outsider perspective, because there's no official Bulldogs podcast at the moment. So it's just it's us. There's a couple of others, which is great, and it's a real chance for the fans to have a say in the narrative of what our club is. So let's talk about all the great things that we are.
Yeah, I agree, mate. And I think perhaps this is a good reason why we should put this segment at the start of the show rather than the end, so that people understand that we also do have the Patreon, which we use to really connect more intimately with the people who sign up for that, because it is difficult when you're talking about like all of the macro things that are going on in the football world and the betting and all that stuff that's coming up at the moment. So I would heavily suggest if you do want to hear more of this, we'll continue the Patreon through till Christmas.
Yep.
We might have a couple of weeks off, but certainly won't be as extended as this. And there's a good reason for that, because it's either next week or the week after we have the draft.
Yes.
So it's important for us to, as you mentioned, have a chat about some of these kids who are coming into the club, because you don't know who's going to be the next Cody Waitman or Caleb Daniel or Bailey Dale or Tim English or Aaron Norton, and many of the players that have come from further down in the draft, like
Chris
the
Grant.
first few I mentioned. Well,
Yeah.
if we find another Chris Grant, we're doing well. Like the first few I mentioned, who can end up being faces of the football club, all Australian players, and huge parts of our club's history. So Danny Boyd on Patreon. We will be back in the new year.
Yes.
And thank you all for listening and subscribing and supporting over the last almost 12 months.
And we say this from the bottom of our heart. We hope your team wins next year.
Today's episode was proudly brought to you by 8-Star Energy, creating energy for the future and power you can count on.
Follow them on Facebook, 8-Star Energy.
I gave my childhood to that roar of the red, white and blue sea, and the knowledge that you had two loves, the Bulldog boys and me. 20 years on, I feel that longing hanging in September air. But the reason I go every week is to pretend you're still there. And they will find the glory one day, and I will throw it at your feet. It's a long, long road they're running for you, the dogs of Footscray streets. It's a long, long road they're running for you, the dogs of Footscray streets.